Pretty spiritual.
Hi, I'm Shay.
And I'm Amy, and welcome to another episode of Pretty Spiritual.
Hi, hun. How are you?
Hey, hun. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So let's start with our high vibe and low vibe from the past week.
Okay, so low vibe for me is I've had to have all my nails cut off.
Oh, sad times. I know how much you love your long nails.
I feel like my long nails are part of my identity.
They are at this point.
Yeah, but the reason I've had them cut down links into my high vibe, and that is because this weekend I'm doing my massage therapist practical.
Oh, yay! This is exciting.
Yeah. So my high vibe is that I complete my theory in 2 weeks, which usually it takes a lot longer, but you know me, chaotic girly.
Yeah, you get it done.
Get it done. And then my practicals this weekend. So by end of Sunday, hopefully, I will be a fully qualified full body massage therapist.
I love this for you. Ah, that's very exciting.
I'm so excited. And yeah, just lots of exciting things for me on the horizon. I'm really excited to see where this goes and adding more things to my skill set.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, no, that's amazing. So I will start with my low vibe, which is there have been so many bugs and insects around this past week. So the weather's been amazing, which I'm not complaining about, but with that comes lots of flies and bugs. And I feel like all week I've just been trying to wrestle with insects to get them out of the house, which has just been so annoying. And like, I'm one of these people where I'm like, I don't want to hurt them. Like, I just need to safely escort them out of the house. Yeah, so I've had many battles with insects this week.
Man.
So that's my low vibe.
It's only going to get worse.
I know, that's the thing. But that's the price that we pay for the nice weather. Yeah, I'm not complaining. And then my high vibe is that I've had a week of pampering this week. It's been amazing. It's just worked out that all of my appointments have like happened in the same week. So I had my hair done, I had a facial, I had a massage. It was just like a really nice week of pampering.
Oh, that sounds angelic.
Yeah, it was.
I could do that right now.
Love it.
Love that. So this week we're diving into the art of everyday magic, the signs, the synchronicities, and those little miracles that we often overlook.
Yeah, and we're releasing this just before Beltane on the 1st of May, which is all about life, growth, and connection with nature. So it feels like the perfect opportunity to be talking about the art of everyday magic.
It does.
So what does everyday magic mean to you?
So everyday magic to me isn't necessarily something profound and magical in the sense of like my practice, but when I started shifting from noticing what surrounds me, I started to find magic in the mundane. And I love the terminology mundane magic because you're noticing beauty in things that you previously overlooked. So one of my kind of analogies that I use for this is you're sitting in traffic, you're stressed out, and you're just in your emotions. When you realize there's nothing that you can do about being stuck in traffic, and then you just stop and you like look at the sky and really appreciate the things around you. You spot nature, trees, things like that. That to me is a little bit of everyday magic that I find. I'm very much more aware of my surroundings now and want to take it in and connect with that. So other elements of everyday magic for me would be, we have tons of traffic lights by where we live. So imagine I'm going to work and then suddenly all the traffic lights are turning green as I get to them, and I'm like, okay, things are going my way today. Just little things like that, really. What about you?
Yeah, like you've just said, it's all about appreciating the small moments. And I really agree with that. I feel like magic doesn't need to be something woo-woo or something huge. I think it really is about those small everyday moments. So for me, it could be that I come downstairs in the morning, make my morning coffee, look out the window and just notice and appreciate whatever's going on in the weather. So it could be that, you know, in winter, you've got that like lovely morning frost. I love that. And it's just kind of noticing how beautiful and magical that looks. it could be that there's a little robin in the garden and I just spend a couple of minutes just watching the robin sing, and, you know, things like that. It really is about just noticing those small things that are amazing, really, that are around us, that, like you said, we don't always stop to appreciate. And I think it's just giving ourselves the time to do that. And I think when you kind of shift your mindset to finding the magic in every day, the more that you kind of observe and look for things, the more that you see those things. So I feel like it really shifts your brain from thinking about things in maybe more of like a negative way to more of a positive way, and you just start noticing more and more things. So I love that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it could be something as simple as like, my hair today went well.
It looks gorgeous. I love it. It looks really nice.
And it's like, your hair feels soft and bouncy opposed to like how it feels any other day. And just little things like that, I think, are... Yeah, and then there is also the kind of, we talk about kind of signs and synchronicities. Noticing certain angel numbers is a big one in both of our practices. Yeah. Like, I mean, we have them tattooed on us now.
We do.
They're
for life.
They're for life. But noticing those synchronicities, obviously on the clocks or seeing numbers, and that's just a really nice reminder for me that there's magic there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something that's really amazing is, in my experience, so we talk a lot about signs, and I suppose for anyone that's listening that doesn't necessarily know what we talk about, you know, what we mean when we say signs, I suppose it's signs from the universe almost guiding you and confirming that you're on the right path. And I think something that a lot of people tap into and know quite well is angel numbers, so repeating numbers. And in my experience, when you ask the universe for signs or ask your angels for signs, they will send them to you. And the more you ask for, the more you see as well. So I feel like a lot of it is being really open to receiving and seeing the magic, and then kind of appreciating it when it does come through.
Yeah, I think one of those things for me is obviously angel numbers, as I've just said, but also in my garden, butterflies and things like that coming around, bees. I take those as sure signs definitely in the spring. As we've already said in previous episodes, I'm a spring girly, so I'm very in touch with nature and things like that. So I really look for signs, or I'm more open to receiving signs when I'm with nature, which is, it's a nice little bit of magic for me, because, I mean, being in the garden is magic for me anyway.
Yeah.
But having those signs pop up in one of my favourite places is lovely.
Yeah, it is. It's so nice. And when you receive those signs, like, how do you interpret them?
So, obviously, when I see butterflies, for example, butterflies are growth. They symbolise transformation. Depending on the colour of butterfly as well will depend on the kind of message it's given.
Yeah.
When it's like when you see a white feather, you know that an angel is near.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. There's lots of symbolism around different signs. I think it also differs in people's practices what these signs mean as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really personal to you, isn't it? And it's like what you take from them.
It's like, you say if you see 1111, that probably means something different to you than it does to me.
Yeah.
And obviously angel numbers, there is a standard kind of approach to what they mean. But for me, when I see 1111, which is my most recurring number that I see, it's a reminder for me to check myself and check what I'm doing, be present and just be aware. Check my intuition, sit with it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, so I think it depends on what I've got going on at the time. So I don't necessarily interpret, so I see 1111 quite a lot, and I also see like 2222 or 222 I see quite a lot. And I don't necessarily have a specific meaning for each of those. But for example, if I'm in a situation where I'm like on the cusp of making a decision about something, and there's something that I may be leaning towards doing, and I'm like, is it the right time for me to do that? Like, is this the right thing? if I then suddenly see 11:11, for me, that is confirmation that, like, yes, you need to go ahead and do that thing. You're on the right path. Like, you need to make that decision. Equally, if I have maybe made a decision where I've, like, I don't know, set a boundary or I've said no to something, and then on reflection, I'm like, oh, like, was that the right decision? And I'm almost like in my head about it. If I then see 11:11 or 2:22, it's kind of like, no, that's confirmation that what you did was the right thing. So a lot of the time I see it as, like, with numbers in particular, I see it as almost like confirmation that the decision I need to make or the decision that I have made is the right thing for me, more than anything. And then obviously each angel number has got, like, a specific meaning behind it. So sometimes if I was to see something, for example, if I saw, like, 555, and that's not a number that I necessarily see very often, if I kept seeing, like, 555, I'd be like, that's trying to get my attention. What's it about? And then that's when I'll, like, look online and be like, what's 555 trying to tell me? And, like, try and see how that
relate to your situation.
How can I then, like, interpret that right now? So yeah, I think it's kind of, it means something different depending on, like, where I am.
Nice, love it. So have you ever experienced a coincidence or something like that that's been kind of too hard to ignore?
Oh, definitely. There's been so many coincidences that I have, that I've had. So I think something that sticks in my mind, which I just have to share. So last year I was on holiday with my family, and I was talking to my sister-in-law, and she was saying to me that, my father-in-law has crossed over to the other side, and she was saying to me that she had been asking her dad for a specific sign for a really long time, and she was like, he hasn't sent me this sign, like, I'm getting a bit fatigued by it, like, when's this sign going to come through? And I said, like, what sign is it? And she said, oh, it's like it's a specific song that she's, like, asked him for, and she's been asking it for him, and she's been saying, like, please send me this sign. And she told me what the song was, and I was like, okay, like, we'll keep an ear out. Anyway, later that evening, we then got back home, and we popped the telly on, like, went onto YouTube and just clicked play on the first playlist that came up. And we were like, didn't think anything of it, just pressed play. And then suddenly this song came on. It was like the first song on the playlist. And we all just froze. And we were like, this is the song. And she was like, oh my God. And I was like, if that is not a sign, I don't know what is. Because nobody had searched for anything. We'd literally, like, gone in. We were about to sit out on the balcony. We'd, like, literally pressed play on the telly, the first thing that popped up, and that was the first song that came on. And we were just like, we've literally just been talking about this a couple of hours ago. And it just felt like, how could that possibly be a coincidence? Like, for me, that was a real clear sign that, like, he was there, he was listening, he was waiting for the right moment. And it was just so funny because we were then laughed about it, and we were like, he's probably sat there, like, rolling his eyes, like, for God's sake, like, I've tried to send you this sign, you know. And it was just amazing. It was an amazing experience. So it was a really, like, that was just a really beautiful example of receiving signs from somebody that's, like, passed over, which, again, that's something that I strongly believe in, is that, you know, the people that we lose, we never really lose, and that they are around us at all times. And again, I do feel that if we kind of try and communicate with them, and that we ask them for specific signs, that they will send them. And I think that's just, I think that's an amazing example of that.
I completely agree with that, and I share that same belief. I mean, I'm in a fortunate position that I don't have many people that have passed over, so I'm not really kind of actively asking for signs from people. But definitely from my kind of, I wouldn't say skill set and the work I do, it's funny what comes through when you're doing stuff with energy work and from other people on the other side as well. And having conversations with people afterwards and be like, oh my gosh, like I've noticed these signs, and yes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and how it all comes together. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, it is. And I just think it's so nice because it just gives people that kind of
clarity and confirmation.
Yeah, confirmation, and that kind of like, okay, like, you know, I have received that sign and that is what I've asked for. And I think it brings people a lot of comfort as well, which I think is really lovely. And there is actually an amazing book that I've read, which I would recommend to anybody. So Laura Lynn Jackson is an author that I've mentioned previously, and she has a book which is called Signs, and it is all about that. So it's all about how to ask for signs, how to interpret signs, and she shares her own personal experiences, but the experiences of people that she's worked with as well as a psychic medium, and some just amazing stories of how people have asked for signs and some of the way that they've shown up. And it's honestly amazing. And I think that if anybody is kind of curious about signs and wants to like learn more, I would highly, highly recommend that book. I think I bought it and I think I'd read it within a week. I was just absolutely like completely hooked to it. It was amazing. So yeah, that is just a strong recommendation from me.
We can put the book in the show notes as well if anybody wants to have a look.
Definitely. It was amazing. So how do you notice signs from the universe?
For me, they're not subtle at all. Whenever I have like signs, synchronicities, they are literally in my face, and it's a very much light bulb or switch moment that's like, okay, that's a sign. What am I looking at here? What's it trying to tell me? It's never, oh, later on in the day I realized I've seen this. My brain doesn't work that way, so it is very much in the moment. I see the signs, and I notice obviously the consistencies with things as well. So last year when I was in the garden, I saw this butterfly, and then this butterfly, I was in my garden all day, and this butterfly kept coming back, and I was just like, oh, butterfly. And I was like, I know what that means. And then I was like, okay, I really need to pay attention to something. So it's kind of like that. When I see any kind of numbers, synchronicities, angel numbers or whatever, I recognize it in that moment, and they're so obvious. And it's always when I look at the clock, it's like 11:11 or 22:22, etc.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important point. And I think that's the thing as well. For me, if you see something and your automatic thought is it's a sign, I feel like it is a sign. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If that is your first thought, like if you're looking at the clock and you don't get that feeling, it's obviously not a sign. But if your first thought is it's a sign, like you say, you have to trust your gut, trust your intuition that that is the right, you know, that is right.
Yeah.
And I think, like you've said, it's not always about the angel numbers, or like, so, you know, angel numbers and things like butterflies and birds can be really symbolic, but I think it can be really practical things as well. Yeah. So for me, it could be something like, I'm deciding what colour to paint my bedroom, and like I'm deciding between two different things, and then I go to the shop and there is like one pot left of this one colour. I'll be like, that's just for me, that is, and I'll take it. So it can be things that are like really practical as well, where you feel like something's trying to guide you towards making the right decision in real like practical terms as well. I think the other thing that I always think about now is being rerouted on a journey.
I was about to say this.
Were you?
Yeah, I was literally going to say rerouting journeys, cancelling plans, like unexpectedly, things like that. That's the universe's way of protecting you and keeping you on the path you should be. Like, you're not meant to be doing or going that way at this moment in time.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. And again, I think when you shift your mindset to thinking, okay, I'm on the right timing that I'm meant to be, I'm on the right path that I'm meant to be, it can help to remove some of that frustration as well, can't it?
Yeah, you know, when we were driving to Glastonbury and I missed the turning and I was like, oh no. And then I was like, actually, and we both said, well, we weren't meant to go that way.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly got the tyre pressure light and I had to like go put air in my tyres, which I'm really proud of myself for.
Yeah, that was a strong moment for you.
Strong moment. I was like, why? But we had to pull over and do that. We still made it in time, but taking away the stress element and thinking this is what the universe has planned. I have to stop and put air in my tyres.
Yeah.
And figure this out. And I didn't need to be where I was going at that time. It needed to happen.
Definitely. And I think it's just such a good way to look at things. I think as well, like, you know, if you're waiting for a flight and your flight's been delayed or cancelled.
Oh, that's a big one for me.
That is like, it's so frustrating in the moment, but I literally see that as like the universe is protecting us. That wasn't the right time.
Yep.
That wasn't the right plane. There's always a reason for it. And it's always for your highest, greatest good is the way that I interpret something like that happening.
So I think now's a really good kind of time to also flip it and talk about the difference between seeing signs and things like that and also overthinking.
Yeah,
now,
definitely.
It's really important to remember that if anything consumes you, that is not normal. And I speak from experience with that one because of my chronic OCD. There was a period of time where I was obsessed with the meaning of seeing one magpie and it would ruin my day.
Really?
Like really ruin my day. And the fear and like the sadness I would feel when I would see one magpie, insane. And I'd almost be looking like, where's the second magpie? Where's the second magpie? And it can take over. Obviously, I'm doing a lot better with my OCD now, and I can see magpies and think, oh, it's a magpie. And I remember speaking to you actually, and I'm like, I keep seeing magpies. And you were like, well, for me, seeing one magpie is actually good luck, and it's actually a positive thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I think it's just really important to add that caveat that if you're seeing a repetitive sign, just check in with yourself, make sure everything's okay as well, and don't necessarily take it so seriously. If it's consuming you, just kind of sit with it and think about things a little bit logically as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose that's more from like a superstition point of view, isn't it? And you thinking like, oh my God, what does this possibly mean? And I think if you can kind of train your brain out of that.
Yeah.
Because I think, again, you know, not to be like toxic positivity, but for me personally, when I see signs, a lot of the time I do see them as positive affirmation.
You are good at that.
There's not many things that I see as like, that's, you know, other than like we've said, a journey being rerouted. Okay, that was almost like a warning, or that was something that wasn't meant to happen. Yeah. But I try to steer clear of thinking that means that's like a bad omen, that's something negative.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's something that's never really crossed my mind.
I think mine stems from an OCD point.
Yeah.
And when you latch on to stuff like that, and I've got really good at turning it into a positive now.
Yeah.
So like people say when you see a murder of crows, there's loads of superstitions around that if they're on your house, if they're near your house.
Yeah.
There's all situations. And then when you look into it, there is some positive sides. And I mean, with the magpie thing, I remember addressing with myself that this is a problem because it is consuming me. And there's so many magpies around here, it's ridiculous.
So many. I was going to say, you would hate being here because I literally look out the window every morning and there's 2 to 3 magpies in the garden every single morning. Well, and I'm like, oh, hello, Mr. Magpie. Like, I'm always like, what are you trying to tell me today? I do talk to the birds. I am that crazy person. But I'm like, what are you trying to tell me?
It got to a point where I was saluting so many magpies a day. And I got to a point when I was seeing like 6 of them. I was saluting 6 times. And I was like, I am not okay. But the minute I started to address this and like start to deal with it in whatever way I did, it was like the universe was testing me because it was sending magpie after magpie after magpie in my garden constantly. I'm like, exposure therapy.
Yeah.
But it's good. And now I can look out in the garden because we have loads as well. And I had one magpie on one fence, one magpie on another fence. I'm like, hello. And when you look at the symbolism of a magpie, it is actually a positive connotation.
Yeah.
They get a bad rap.
Yeah.
Poor magpies.
Poor magpies. What did they ever do?
I know. I remember seeing 3 magpies when I was pregnant, and I was like, oh, I'm having a girl.
Really?
And then I had a boy. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So don't take it too seriously is my other thing.
Yeah.
Don't let it consume you.
No, don't let it consume you. And you don't want to go down a negative path with it. I think it's meant to be ideally positive affirmations from the universe. So yeah, I think that's a really important point. So what small things in daily life feel magical to you?
So at this time of year, one of my favourite things that makes me feel like all warm and fuzzy inside and magical is literally the growth of plants. So I start some plants off as seeds. I have some in my house that I start off in the house. And then I also have shrubs and things like that and big plants outside. And just being able to go outside or check in on the plants and see them grow in literally half a day sometimes, or like the next morning. There is nothing more than I love going out every single morning and seeing how they've changed. And I went out to clear the garden ready for planting and get rid of a load of the dead. And I suddenly noticed like my camellia plant had 5 buds on it. And last year it only had 1 flower because it was a baby. And I'm like, this is amazing. Things are growing. And then my snapdragons, which I'm obsessed with snapdragons, I grow them all by seed. And they're tiny seeds. And it's a lot of hard work. They typically don't come back in our weather in the UK. They typically die off and you have to start over again. And when I was doing the garden on Sunday, I was like, is that a weed in my snapdragon pot? And I have some in the ground as well. And so I just quickly like looked online and I was like, no, that's not a weed. Don't cut it. It's your snapdragons coming back like bigger and better. And I was like, this is amazing. And I was like, thank you, Mother Nature. You've given me a gift. And they're my favourite plants and my son's favourite as well. And I was just amazed that somehow they'd weathered through everything and were back bigger than ever. And that to me is my little magic.
Yeah, that truly is magical. And I just think there's something so, like, it's very nurturing, isn't it? Like, you've nurtured those plants and I know how much you love your garden. And then to kind of like see all of the hard work like paying off and for things to be coming back and feel like they're thriving so early on as well. That is magical.
Yeah,
I think that's amazing.
I'm like a kid at Christmas right now because I'm waiting for all my roses to come out and I'm like, what are they going to do? And a lot of plants were new last year. And I'm like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Are they going to die off? Are they going to come back bigger than ever? And it's just really nice to see that every day there's progress.
Yeah, that is amazing. I can't wait to come and see the garden this year.
So much change. What about you?
So for me, I think I try to romanticize my life as much as possible.
I love that.
So I can find magic in pretty much any situation. It does not have to be something that you would specifically deem as like magical. I just appreciate the small moments. I appreciate the little things. So I always think about like, what does my perfect Sunday look like? And that looks like a slow morning at this time of year, like having a coffee in the garden, listening to the birds, watching the butterflies, hearing the bees, like just, I think being outside in nature is so healing and relaxing, and I just love it. So I fully romanticize and appreciate that, and just, yeah, because I think it's a luxury as well. Not everybody has the time to do that. Not everybody has a garden. Like, you know, I really do appreciate and don't take that for granted. And then, you know, my ideal Sunday is going to my local National Trust and just going on a big walk, regardless of weather, regardless of season. I will stop and appreciate whatever is going on, because, you know, just like how the landscape changes, whether it's a frosty day, whether it's gorgeous sunshine, like I just love anything like that. So there's definitely an element of like being outdoors and making the most of the seasons, you know, in autumn, stopping to like notice that like the crunching of leaves under my feet literally like makes me so excited. So yeah, I think it's very much about romanticizing every single day And if it's not a day where I can get outside, it could be something so simple as like, I'm just going to light a candle, I'm going to close the curtains, I'm going to get a cozy blanket. And it's just those small everyday moments that just can make your life feel really magical and really beautiful. And that's something that I just love to do. I just really like to try and embrace my surroundings. And even if I'm having an awful day, it's not about ignoring that, but I feel like there is always something that you can do that just adds a little bit of magic and a little bit of positivity to your day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when it's raining and if I'm working at my desk and I put my candle warmer on, and just the feeling of the coziness I find really magical. The feeling of cozy makes me feel magical.
Yeah, definitely. And I think embracing whatever weather, like you've just mentioned, the rain, is another way to just shift your mindset and to find magic. Because if you're somebody that's constantly relying on the weather only ever being sunny or only ever being dry or only ever being warm, I feel like, especially living in the UK, you're going to be pretty disappointed a lot of the time, because let's be honest, like, we don't always get that weather. Whereas if you're somebody that's like, I'm going to embrace whatever weather the universe gives us today, adapt to it, it just adds to whatever experience you're having. And I think that's something that, you know, I really try to embrace. I don't, you know, fixate on the weather. I don't constantly check the forecast. I'm very much like, we will get what we get and we'll have a great time. And I just, really try to kind of embrace every season.
I love it.
So are there any specific rituals or practices that you use to invite more magic into every day?
So with regards to rituals, they are very dependent on the Sabbath. So I have different rituals for different times of years that I will do. I have 2 altars in my house, working on 3. It's great. And they are very much every single kind of few weeks, I'm cleaning them, dusting them, moving them around, giving them a refresh. And they are very much decorated and in line with the current Sabbats that we're in. And that involves things like flora, water, crystals. They all kind of change on those. Another thing that I do is I have a pot for water on my altar. So I like to honour all of the elements. So I will constantly keep that refreshed. Obviously, with the other elements, I don't really need to, other than a candle I will burn. And when I'm doing kind of my sitting with spirit, sitting with my practice, I light the same amount of candles and I have a nice little setup there. And it just helps the experience kind of feel very centered. There's that element. And then I also do my full moon, new moon rituals that come around every couple of weeks. And I work to the themes of those.
Oh, that sounds amazing. It's like creating that really sacred space, isn't it? By having that, which is just lovely.
Yeah. And then I'm very big on cleansing energy out of my house, like stagnant energy, because we bring so much in from other people and just our surroundings. So like you use incense a lot and do a nice good clearing.
Yeah, I think that's really important as well. And I feel like that's a very easy way just to refresh your space. And it really can just change the whole vibe of how your house feels, can't it? Just by opening your windows, using a bit of incense or sage, it does just feel like a complete cleanse. It's lovely.
Yeah, and then on a full moon, I have like what I call a cleansing shower, or around the full moon, I definitely have a cleansing bath as well. So I have both, just to kind of rid myself of, I'm a bit weird because when I have the bath, I'm like, I'm sitting in the stagnant energy. Yeah. So I have to follow it up with a shower or I have to be completely clean before I have like the bath. But I love like a bath ritual just to sit with. It's just a real nice time to sit at one with my practice.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like that's good for overall well-being as well, isn't it? Especially if you're incorporating like bath salts and things into that. I feel like that's a very good way of like not only like cleansing your energy and honoring the specific moon cycle, but it's also about like enhancing your overall well-being. So yeah, I love that.
What about you?
So for me, I think I'm very, very seasonal, and I like to, from a seasonal point of view, like try and decorate the house in some way. So we have a porch at the front of the house, and we are quite well known now for decorating that for every season. Particularly for autumn and winter. Autumn is my favourite season. I love getting all of the pumpkins out, getting the hay bales, and just doing something to honour the season that we're in. And I do something similar inside as well, just obviously on a much smaller scale. So I like to try and bring in autumn, pumpkins inside, anything else that kind of honours that time of year. And I like to try and do that for each of the seasons as well, just to bring a bit of the outdoors inside your home as well. And I think even like decluttering as well, like that can help to kind of add, I suppose, magic into your everyday. So for me, like in the winter, I love to have lots of like thick like throws and blankets and cushions, and I like to make the house feel really cozy. Whereas I feel like when we're transitioning into springtime, I like to kind of remove all of those things and just for everything to feel a lot more fresh and clear and airy and light, and because you don't need all of those extra layers. So I think that's quite a nice way of adding magic into the home,
letting it flow through the home.
Yeah, definitely, and just honouring the kind of time that we're in. So yeah, those are some things for me.
So what's one small ritual you can do to honour growth and abundance this May Day?
So I think something you can do that's quite practical is to check in on your goals and how things are progressing. So I always like to set my goals with the intention of really starting them in the springtime when we start to see, more light and the plants coming up and things like that. So by May Day, we're kind of well into that sort of 6 weeks into that period. I feel like it's a good time to just check in on your progress and your goals and how you're getting on with those, and really evaluate where you might need to add a little bit more focus and kind of use the lighter, brighter days and what's going on in nature as a bit of like motivation that now's the time for you to really start to kind of spring into action as well. So that's something that I would do. What about you?
So I have two. So the obvious one, which obviously I've been very focused on, and as people get to know me, know I like plants. So I would plant my seeds, and watching them grow symbolises the growth, and then obviously them flowering is the abundance. From another ritual point of view, if we really wanted to talk ritual, is you can do a growth and abundance spell ritual with a candle, and you can use bay leaves to set intentions and give to the universe. And you can kind of plant seeds that way. Yeah,
that's a really nice way to do it. I think from a ritual point of view, for me, something that I quite like to do is I love manifesting things. And I will quite often like write out anything that I want to bring in, like anything that I want to manifest. And then I will kind of write it down on a piece of paper. I will like hold it close to my heart and ask the universe for those things, and then I'll burn it in the fire as a symbol of like, I trust that the universe is going to bring these things to me, and if they're not going to bring these things to me, it's going to bring me something better, and almost like the releasing of control, like I'm asking for these things and I'm giving it back to the universe. I think that's a really nice thing to do as well.
Yeah, so you're essentially doing the same thing I do, except I'm just adding a bit more theatrics to it with my candles.
I love that. We love the dramatics and the theatrics. It's whatever works for you.
It's the same practice though, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's just how it works for you. I think what's really important is people find their own way.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you're doing is exactly the same as what I'm doing, but I'm just complicating it.
Not at all. You're adding your own bit of magic to it, and that is exactly what it's about.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Pretty Spiritual.
If you've enjoyed hanging out with us, then don't forget to like, subscribe and follow along on our platforms to be the first to receive any updates.
We hope to see you soon on Tuesday the 5th of May for the next episode of
Pretty Spiritual.
Pretty Spiritual.